Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment here for Tighten Up Thursdays as we have a wild card game. The Tennessee Titans find themselves in the 2019-2020 NFL playoffs. Happy New Year, by the way. I should have started the video by saying that. And what a year indeed. Hopefully. Okay, hopefully. Now, I said after the Houston Texans game, or at least on Monday, because I wasn't able to make a video after the game, that I felt very confident about this game. That 2 years ago, I was on this channel, and I predicted that the Titans would beat the Chiefs in the wild card round. And I was correct in this prediction. And that they would lose against the Patriots because we all knew that was going to happen. And I told you after the Texans game that I'm actually more confident about this game than I am, the game against the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago. Okay, this is actually how I felt. However, as the week has moved on, and I actually sat down and I watched the tape on the Patriots, yeah, they're still pretty good. Now, they're vulnerable, okay? They are definitely vulnerable, and I specifically watched and definitely took notes on the last game, which was against the Miami Dolphins. And I watched, the Ravens game this year. I watched that one live. I watched the Chiefs game live. I watched the Texans game live. So I've seen, six, 7, maybe 8 Patriots games this year. So I've watched plenty of the Patriots. But the Miami game, that game was fluky. If you watch the game, Devontae Parker had a fantastic game. He was incredible. But, they're throwing the ball up to him, and he was coming down with a lot of 50-50 balls, and Tom Brady threw an interception that he normally doesn't throw on a miscommunication thing. It was a weird game, a fluky game. That's not the reason why. We don't want to copy the Miami Dolphins per se. Now, there's a lot of things we can take away from them. But we want to do more of what the Kansas City Chiefs did, more of what the Baltimore Ravens did, more of what the Houston Texans did, and that I think we could do. And also what we did last year against the New England Patriots themselves, right? So there's definitely a formula here. There's definitely a strategy here, and there is a route to victory. But these are still the New England Patriots. And this is still a team that won the Super Bowl last year. This is still the greatest football dynasty ever. Or maybe the best sports dynasty ever, people would argue, right? We need to understand that this is a Goliath here. Even this year, as they're weaker than normal, they're still 12-4. Okay, they might not have a bye week, but they're still 12-4. They still have Tom Brady, they still Bill Belichick. And if you think they're just going to lie over and just roll over and just take a beating, you're wrong. This could end up being a blowout like last year, but I just doubt it. These are the Patriots. These are the playoffs, and they get blown out in the playoffs. I can't tell you the last time they got blown out in the playoffs. So forget about that. It's a possibility. Maybe we come out and we absolutely wreck them like we did last year. I doubt it. It's the Patriots. It's the playoffs. It's going to be different. But I do still like our chances. So let's start with headlines. The number one headline is absolutely the fact that Adoree Jackson is back. Okay, Adoree Jackson is back. He is healthy. He is ready to go, and this we are very excited for. And not a moment too late, right? As the playoffs are finally starting, Adoree Jackson is finally back. We're gonna need him, right? Now, I'm not, really afraid of these Patriots wide receivers outside of Julian Edelman. I'm not afraid of Mohamed Sanu. I'm not afraid of Philip Dorsett. I'm sorry, I'm not afraid of them. But Edelman I am. And I think Logan Ryan can do a good job, against Edelman, but Logan Ryan doesn't really shadow anyone, right? He just, we move him around, he plays in the slot, he plays outside, whatever. He doesn't really shadow the number one wide receiver, so I'd love to see, Logan Ryan and Adoree Jackson split coverage in terms of Julian Edelman and limit him as much as possible. Make Philip Dorsett make plays, make Philip Dorsett and what's the other wide receiver that they have? Mohamed Sanu and N'Keal Harry. Is N'Keal Harry back? I think N'Keal Harry's back and healthy right now. Their tight end position is a disaster. Forget about their tight end position. Benjamin Watson, dude, this guy's 40 years old. I mean, seriously, Benjamin Watson is approaching 40 years old. My dad is near this guy's age. Okay, I'm not worried about no Ben Watson. And then Matt LaCosse, who? Okay, forget about the tight end position. But we need to also definitely limit their running backs. Do not sleep on their running backs in terms of pass coverage. They will go out there. They will absolutely kill you. So if I'm the inside linebackers, if I'm J.R. Brown, if I'm Rashaan Evans, I'm going to let Ben Watson and Matt LaCosse do whatever they want. I'm more concerned about James White. I'm more concerned about Rex Burkhead. Do not let their running backs kill us. But yeah, Adoree Jackson is back. That's fantastic. He and Logan Ryan should split the coverage on Julian Edelman. You have to limit Julian Edelman. If you're able to do that, you're going to really slow down this Patriots offense. But, there is another key in order to stopping this Patriots offense, which we'll get into in a moment. So, Adoree Jackson's back. That's fantastic. Next headline, A.J. Brown. Okay, he won Offensive Rookie of the Month. And I still think he's Offensive Rookie of the Year. However, I did sit down and I looked at the statistics for all the rookies. Kyler Murray should not win over him. If anyone, and I love Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray did not have the statistics worthy of winning Rookie of the Year this year. 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, an 87 passer rating. Yeah, some rushing statistics along with that, but that's not enough to win Rookie of the Year over A.J. Brown. Josh Jacobs. Now, be honest, guys. 1,150 yards for a running back. A rookie running back at 13 games, yeah, that's pretty good. Now, he missed the last 3 games of the season, whereas A.J. Brown did not, and A.J. Brown had a fantastic last 3 games of the season. Weeks 15 or 17, he was absolutely fantastic. So, he has a lasting impression in people's minds. If anyone votes for Josh Jacobs over A.J. Brown, I'll understand it. Josh Jacobs had a fantastic year, and he had more yards from scrimmage than A.J. Brown, and he had more touchdowns, I think. No, A.J. Brown had 1 more touchdown. Maybe if Josh Jacobs had a receiving touchdown, but I didn't have that statistic ready. So anyway, if anyone votes for Josh Jacobs over A.J. Brown, don't be upset. Josh Jacobs had a great year. Josh Jacobs would also be very deserving of Offensive Rookie of the Year. I just want it to be A.J. Brown. All right, that's just who I want it to be. But congratulations to A.J. Brown for winning Offensive Rookie of the Month. Otherwise, in the injury report, outside of Adoree Jackson, Adam Humphries is out again. This foot injury is just really bothering him. I do not expect him to really return. I don't know how far we're going to go in these playoffs. I mean, we'll see. If we make a Super Bowl, he might be back by then. I'm just going to toss that one out there, but I don't see him being back next week. I don't see him being back even the week after that if we make it that far. I would just really table the Adam Humphries discussion for now, which is unfortunate because we could really use Adam Humphries this week going up against a secondary that features Stephon Gilmore and also Jason McCourty, who may miss this game. He is questionable. I think he missed the last game against Miami. He is definitely getting up there in age, but he's been one of the better cover corners in this league. The past couple years, he went to Cleveland, did a fantastic job, went to New England, won a Super Bowl, did a fantastic job for them. We also have Devin McCourty, who we know very well, not a former Tennessee Titan, but obviously the twin of Jason McCourty. They're back in the secondary as well. Deron Harmon is one of the better strong safeties in the league, so he's another threat. So their secondary is very strong. I don't know what people were saying early in the year, like Colin Cowherd, this is the best secondary I've ever seen. You're out of your gourd. This isn't even the best secondary this decade. That's the Seattle Seahawks 2013. That's the Denver Broncos 2015, and that's 2 or 3 more teams before you even get to this secondary. To be quite honest with you, like J.C. Jackson, he's good. That's one of their cornerbacks. He's not great. Jonathan Jones, yeah, he's good. He's not great. Forget about that discussion. But it is a very strong secondary in New England, and you would love to have a 3-person attack. And right now, we don't really have that in the wide receiver room. I mean, Tajay Sharp can show up, and I think he's going to have to. I didn't include that as one of my tighten-up keys to the game because literally I could have made 10 keys to this game. There's so many keys to winning this game. But Tajay Sharp is going to have to show up. Tajay Sharp is going to have to catch at least 4 balls. And I actually I'm going to predict right now, Tajay Sharp is going to have a touchdown in this game. I'm going to predict 100% that Tajay Sharp is going to have a touchdown in this game because I know they're going to leave him uncovered. I know they're going to focus a lot of their attention and efforts to A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, and deservedly so. And as we get into my ton-up keys to the game, I'll tell you why it's very important that we establish them early. So Tajay Sharp is going to have to step up, and I think that he will. To a large extent, I expect a touchdown from Tajay Sharp, and then Jonnu Smith as well. Hopefully he can step up. Jonnu Smith is either really on or, just not doing anything. So, he didn't have a catch last week, unless if I just am forgetting, but I'm pretty sure he did not. And he's had 3 or 4 games this year, and yeah, he caught nothing. He literally had 0 catches, 0 yards. Maybe a rusher or something, but no catches. And then he'll have games where he has like a 50-yard touchdown. So it's very interesting. But hopefully we get a big play out of Jonnu Smith. I like to call him now Big Play Jonnu because he does give you big plays, both good and bad, but a lot more good than bad lately. He's having a strong year. I'm not going to say it was a great year. People are saying it was a great year for Jonnu Smith. I don't know about that. He only finished with like 400 receiving yards. I mean, that's not great. It's all right. That's like league average for tight ends. Maybe even a little below average. I need to check the average, but I feel, just anecdotally that it's like 500, 600 receiving yards for tight ends, and he had 400. So, but he had some great plays, and he had a huge rush that didn't go in his receiving yard total, so I give him that. He was fine, and hopefully he can make a big play in this game to help propel us to victory. So I'm rooting you on, big play, Jonnu. So, with that said, let's go ahead and look at my 3 tighten up keys to the game. And number 1 for me is establishing Corey Davis and A.J. Brown early, both of them. Okay, because Stephon Gilmore, they might try to just, put him on A.J. Brown and say, go shut down A.J. Brown. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be covering both of them. And we actually saw last year, Corey Davis did very well against Stephon Gilmore. And we saw last week, Devontae Parker did very well against Stephon Gilmore. Gilmore has, without a doubt, been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL this year. Maybe even the best, maybe. But he has his issues, right? There's no true shut-down, lockdown corners in this league anymore. There's just not, especially this year. So this is a guy that can be picked on. This is a guy that can be, that can be pushed to the boundary. I mean, Devontae Parker had over 100, I think it was 132 receiving yards last week, and a lot of it was against Stephon Gilmore. And a lot of it was in, when Gilmore was having, give me some cushion for his own coverage, but a lot of it was literally one-on-one man coverage. Devontae Parker got up and got the ball before Stephon Gilmore could. A lot of the plays last week. So Corey Davis, knowing the success that he had last year against Stephon Gilmore, I'm expecting more of the same. Be physical with him. One of the great things about Corey Davis, he is physical. This is why I love Corey Davis. I know it's a lot of people like to poo-poo Corey Davis these days because of the success of A.J. Brown. They say, look at A.J. Brown doing this. Why can't you do this? But Corey Davis is a fantastic blocker. So at the very least, you're going to get that from him week to week. Look at who's blocking for A.J. Brown as he's running up the sideline for the touchdown. It's Corey Davis, who consistently is blocking guys out of the way. Derrick Henry on his long runs. Guess who's out there blocking, making sure that the cornerback is not able to secure the edge? Corey Davis. Right? So Corey Davis, get him involved. But at the very least, make sure that he's helping out in terms of the blocking because we're going to need it in terms of the run game. Because let me tell you right now, I don't think we're going to run the ball very well against this team. No one runs the ball very well against the New England Patriots this year. Pretty much no one. The Cowboys broke 100 yards barely. And some teams early in the season were able to do it too. But that's because it was a lot of garbage teams and garbage time. But lately, no one's been running the ball in the Patriots. Now, Patrick Laird, however you pronounce his name, okay, he stinks. So who cares if he only had 19 rushing yards? But even, some running backs that they face more recently have had no success running against this New England Patriots front. So I'm not really expecting Derrick Henry to have a big game here. I really want him to be available in the fourth quarter and help drive home the game, but he's not going to carry us in this game. The Patriots are way too strong up front, and number one, Bill Belichick is going to stop the run. That's going to be his number one game plan. He's going to be telling his entire defense, we're stopping the run today. They're going to have to beat us with the pass today, 100%, initially when the game starts. So that's why, to me, if we come out trying to run the football, trying to be conservative, trying to be a running football team against New England, it's not going to work. They will shut down our run game. I believe this. I know how great our running game has been over the past month. I don't care. This New England Patriots team, coached by Bill Belichick, is going to stop the run on us early. 100%. We're going to have to come out throwing early, being aggressive, keeping the defense on their toes, and then maybe the running game can open up. But if we expect to just establish the run early, to push the run game first, we're going to have some 3 and outs. Before you know it, New England is up 14-0, and then we're in trouble. And the last thing we need in this game is to come back, because we're not going to be able to come back in New England. I don't know anyone that can come back in New England, unless if your name is Peyton Manning. I mean, I think that's the only guy. I think that's the only guy in league in this dynasty history that has been able to come back in Foxborough. Maybe Did Joe Flacco do it? No, they were ahead in that AFC Championship game. So yeah, I can't tell you someone that Ben Roethlisberger sure can't do it. The Steelers? Are you kidding? Peyton Manning is the only man that can come back against New England in New England, and even most of the time, he still loses to New England. Most of the time, but he's had plenty of victories against them as well. So definitely to me, come out throwing the football early. That's going to have to be the move. You do not want to fall down in this game, right? So that is tighten up key number one, and then tighten up key number two. You're going to have to run Ryan Tannehill several times. I expect, I hope, for 5 rushes at least from Ryan Tannehill. You got to keep the defense on their toes. You look at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, that is one team that was absolutely able to run the ball in the New England Patriots this year. Mark Ingram finished with 115 rushing yards in that game. Lamar Jackson added 60 or so as well. Gus Edwards added some. They were able to run the ball on the Patriots because Lamar Jackson was able to run on them, open up their defense, fool their linebackers a little bit, and then the run game opened up for the running backs. Ryan Tannehill's going to have to do the same thing. Keep the Patriots defense on their toes. When you're able to be dynamic offensively against the New England Patriots team, that's when you see some of their issues arise. So definitely, to me, running Ryan Tannehill early, and yeah, I don't want him to get injured, but hey, he's been healthy this year. As long as he slides, he'll be fine. And I know the weather's not looking great. It's looking rainy and snowy, but you're going to have to do what you have to do. I mean, this is the playoffs, baby. You got to go all out. This is the playoffs. You got to go all out in the playoffs, run Ryan Tannehill several times, and then tighten up key number 3. Got to get to Tom Brady, right? That's the secret. That's the key. And I think this is something we're going to fail at. I mean, honestly, I don't know if we're going to sack Tom Brady twice. I think we're going to get him once. If we sack him twice, I'll be like, wow, we got Tom Brady twice. If you get him 3 times, oh, that would be a dream come true. 4 times, oh my goodness, wow. That would just be incredible if we even got to him 4 times, but I highly doubt that. Lately, we already get a number of sacks last week against Houston, but again, that was against, most of their backups offensively. I'm not really going to, put too much stock into that. But I know right now we're ranking worse than the league in terms of knocking down opposing quarterbacks. And at the very least, if you're not going to sack Tom Brady, you got to knock him down. You got to pressure him. You got to get him uncomfortable. So it's very concerning that we're last in the league at that. We're last in the league in terms of quarterback hits. In terms of quarterback knockdowns, we're dead last. Harold Landry is only able to do so much. He's leading the league, or not leading the league, leading the team in terms of quarterback knockdowns. And then I think they said, number 2 is Cameron Wake, who has been on injured reserve for I don't know how many weeks. So that's concerning in and of itself. Jordan Casey, you got to step up. You got to show up for us, man. We're paying you how much money? We're paying you how much money? You got to step up for this playoff game. We got to get to Tom Brady. Just give me 2 sacks. I'll even take 2 sacks and give me 5, 6 knockdowns. I would love to see it. They're going to score points on us. Ultimately, Tom Brady's going to sit in that pocket, and although we can blitz, and, Logan Ryan's going to come on a blitz, and maybe he can get a sack, and, we're going to blitz Rashaan Evans, and that's great. Tom Brady is ultimately going to sit in that pocket and dissect our defense a bit. I mean, who hasn't, to be quite honest with you? Even A.J. McCarron, to a certain extent, was doing it last week. Like, our defense is vulnerable. Even with the Dory Jackson back, it's a little vulnerable. So I expect the Patriots to put up points. But we got to keep them under, I think we got to keep them under 30. I think we could score 31, 35, but I just don't think that's a good strategy. Going up to Foxborough in the playoffs with the weather we're going to have, if you're planning on having to score 31, 35, 38 points, man, that's not a good strategy to have. You're going to have to limit that Patriots offense. You're going to have to get to Tom Brady, and hopefully that's something that they're able to do. So please, please, please pressure Tom Brady, knock him down, make him feel just a little bit uncomfortable, because if he sits in that pocket, even with these bad wide receivers and horrible tight ends in Ben Watson, Matt LaCosse, he will kill you. Eventually, Mohamed Sanu is going to come open. Eventually, Philip Dorsett's going to come open. Eventually, June Edelman for sure is going to get open. Even against Adoree Jackson and Logan Ryan, even with both of them back, even with Kevin Byard being out there, eventually, one of them is going to get open. He will find him. He will deliver the rock, and it's going to be a problem. He's going to do it again and again and again and again. If he gets comfortable, if he gets in stride, man, this game could get ugly quick for the New England Patriots. We could fold. We could, sync up, or what's it called? We could freeze up. I mean, that could really happen. So Gotta get to Tom Brady. That is key number three. Now I have some other things like I already mentioned earlier. In terms of getting Tajay Sharp involved again, he's gonna have to score a touchdown to me, and I have him scoring a touchdown. That's my bold prediction. It's not really that bold, but I'm telling you right now, Tajay Sharp's gonna come down with the touchdown of probably like 4 catches. Hopefully, John Smith gonna have a big play, and then let's get a little, let's get a little tricky. Let's get SSX right. It's time to get tricky, right? Let's get some trick plays. Let's get a Dory Jackson. I'd love to see a Dory Jackson get a handoff or something. I know he's getting back from injury, but just some stuff to get them, off on their toes a little bit. I saw the Dolphins last week. They ran this crazy play with Isaiah Ford. Their wide receiver, looked like he was going to toss rock, ended up running it himself and getting a first down. You got to do interesting things. You got to take some risks offensively, Ryan Tannehill, and I'm sure that he will. As long as he continues to play the way he's been playing, I'm sure he will. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick, man, he was making some crazy throws against the Patriots, but he was able to convert. He had his balls out there, and he was able to do some nice things, and ultimately the Dolphins were able to win the game. So, Ryan Tannehill, continue to do your thing. Play with confidence. Don't play scared, because I'm telling you, Derrick Henry's not going to have a big game in this game. I really wish. I think he's going to save it for Baltimore. If we win this game, we'll move on to Baltimore. This game's going to come down to Ryan Tannehill. Everyone wants to extend Ryan Tannehill. Everyone tells me I'm wrong to say franchise Ryan Tannehill. Well, he can prove it in this game. If he goes and he throws for 300 plus yards and he gets a W in New England, that is a huge step towards him getting whatever extension that he wants. And to be honest, I still wouldn't give him that extension. I would still franchise him myself, but that would definitely do a lot in terms of validating what a lot of people are saying in terms of giving Ryan Tannehill that extension. And also, I'd love to see Mariota out there. I'd love to see Mariota doing some Taysom Hill stuff, type stuff out there. And again, I'd like to be leading at that point in the game. I don't want to do this stuff when we're down, or if the game's tied, then it's fine. But I prefer to be leading, and then let's just try to trick them up a little bit. We don't have to do too much. I'm not saying we need to be like the Harlem Globetrotters or anything during this football game, but just doing some interesting stuff. Because I'm telling you, if we just go out there, try to be boring, I formation, running the football, put Kari Blas in the game, blocking as a fullback, just basic Tennessee Titans offense, you're not going to get it done. You got to go and you got to hit New England in the mouth, who's the only team that's beat New England in the past 3 years in the playoffs. Philadelphia Eagles. Right? What they do, they came and they absolutely hit them in the mouth. That's what you got to do, man. You got to be aggressive. You got to stay aggressive. That's why the Kansas City Chiefs could not get it done, because although they had a great start against New England, they did not stay aggressive. They did not continue to do some of the creative stuff they were doing offensive in the first half, and they blew the lead. What happened to the Jacksonville Jaguars when they went to go face New England, and they were up in that game? They blew their lead as well because they did not stay aggressive. You're going to have to stay aggressive. You have to come out and hit them in the mouth. That is the only way you're going to get it done. That's the only way the Philadelphia Eagles are able to beat the New England Patriots in that Super Bowl now almost 3 years ago. That's what you're going to have to do. Is it almost 3 or almost 2? Almost 2 years ago now. That's what you're going to have to do. So, with that said, we're going to now move on to the chat. If you have anything you want me to answer, at me at SportsFan Entertainment. I'll stay for like another 7 minutes, and then we'll get out of here. And again, I'm very much looking forward to this game. I will be live right after to recap it, win or loss. And my prediction is a win. Give me the Tennessee Titans to win this game 28-27. So I do believe it will be a very close game. I do believe it might come down to a field goal. And by the way, I hope Greg Joseph is ready to kick a field goal or two, because we're going to need it. Like, luckily, we haven't had to kick a field goal in weeks. Did we even, what was the score? We beat we lost to the Saints. Yeah, Saints, we didn't have to kick a field goal. We had 28 points. Last week, we had 35. Week before that, we had, against the Texans, 21. Week before that, we had 42. We haven't kicked a field goal in a month. So let's look out for the kicking game, because when you're facing New England, you're facing them in playoffs, you're going to need some field goals. I don't have us scoring a field goal here, but, that's something else to consider. So, that's something else to watch out for. I didn't even really get to talk about that because we haven't kicked a field goal in a month. But, hopefully Greg Joseph is ready if his number gets called upon. So, with that said, I'm going to scroll up because I missed some comments early. Andrew Contreras said, as sports fan entertainment, I'm putting big money on the Titans +5. Don't let me down. Well, I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't guarantee nothing. Okay, I got us winning the game. Yeah, I got us winning the game, but I'm a Tennessee Titan fan. Would you going to trust me? When I have us winning by 1 point, I would relax. But hey, that's on you. If that's what you want to do, that's on you. Jonathan Donahue says, at Sports Fan Entertainment, no roasting our team, just optimism. Okay, thanks. Well, I mean, come on. If you're coming to this channel, I'm a roast a Titan or two. I mean, that's just what I do. I mean, I don't know what you want from me. All right. Call Me B says, as Sports Fan Entertainment, I want the Titans to win, and I know the Patriots aren't as good as years past, but don't you think they will wake up with all the experience? I mean, yes, to a certain extent. Like, they're not going to be as bad as they were last week. And again, if you watch the game, they weren't totally bad. They weren't totally disastrous. The Dolphins had a lot of luck. They were winning a lot of 50-50 balls, and the Patriots made numerous mistakes that I don't expect them to make this week. So they're definitely going to bounce back. They're definitely going to perform better than they have, at least than they did last week, and they have multiple times this season. The question is, to what extent, right? And they're not going to fix all their problems overnight, because I think, mainly their problems are just personnel-wise, offensively. Their wide receivers outside of Julian Edelman are awful. I'm not a fan of Mohamed Sanu. I've never been. And their tight ends are dreadful. It's the worst tight end position in the league. With Benjamin Watson, my father, all right, my grandfather, at 38 years old, still playing in this league. I mean, can someone give this guy a cane, a walker? Someone give him something. He's getting ready to retire in Florida at the retirement home. I mean, what is this guy? What's he doing out there in New England? I mean, I know Tom Brady's an old man too. They got some old men in New England. Oh, they're collecting Social Security in New England with the Belichick, Brady, and Ben Watson. That's what they're doing over there. I don't know why they should have picked up Michael Homananui, because at least that'd be a better waste of money than on Ben Watson. Jeez. All right. Andrew Hart says, at Sports for Entertainment, the game is on Saturday. Correction for your lower third. That is correct, actually. I should have changed that while I had the chance, but now it's already gone. All right. Justin Dugan says, yo, at Sports Fan Entertainment, put on that nice jacket you had on the last vid. What jacket was that? I don't even remember what I was wearing. But I think it was a black one. Yeah, it's in my room. I could wear it if I want to, but I'm too lazy. All right, what else do we have? Jonathan Donnie, he agrees with me. He says definitely needs to throw the ball. Yep, absolutely, man. We will be able to run the ball. I expect Henry, give me 70 yards, 75, maybe 80. It's not going to be 100. It's just not. Unless if we just, man, if we really blow their doors off or something, it could be over 100. But I really expect them to limit the run. I really expect us to going to have to throw the ball to win this game. I think it's going to have to be a very heroic performance from Ryan Tannehill in order for us to win the game, and I think that's what we're going to get. I think he's proven that that's what he can provide, and I think that's what we're going to see. Jonathan Donnie says, as Sports Fan Entertainment, where has Jeffrey Simmons been? And, again, I was watching the tape from the Texans game, and he was still making a push. He was still doing some things. Now, he's not bursting through and getting, many tackles or sacks right now, but he's a rookie. I definitely want to see him be more consistent next year. I definitely want to see him take that next step, because God knows we need it on our defensive line. I mean, with Jarrell Casey not being elite anymore, he's still good. He's not elite anymore. With him not being elite anymore, we need more from the defensive line. We need a pass rush. I mean, our defense, man, it's just so frustrating, our defense. I don't get it. Does anyone understand our defense? How do we go from having such a strong defense early in the year to being so weak now? Our team completely flipped. I mean, it's incredible how bad our offense was with Mariota and how great our defense was, and how it completely flipped. And it's not even like we're turning the ball over. We are turning the ball over a little bit more with Tannehill. At least we were, but he hasn't thrown an interception in a couple weeks anyway. So it's not even that. It's just maybe, the offenses we were facing early in the year, they weren't great. But it's still impressive to hold the Buffalo Bills to 14. It's still impressive to hold the Denver Broncos to 16. It's still impressive. It's still impressive to hold, at the time, the Colts to 19. Those are impressive things to do. To hold the Browns to 13. Those were impressive things. I know those offenses aren't blowing anyone's doors off. But to hold any team in this league, except for the Cincinnati Bengals, and even the Bengals, they can definitely have their offensive explosions. So to hold those teams and any team in the NFL under 20 points, like that's pretty good. And we did that to the Colts, we did that to the Browns, we did that to the Bills, we did that to the Broncos. Jaguars, we allowed 20, but that was, remember we had the Adoree Jackson muffed punt, and then they scored a touchdown right afterwards. So to me, the defense really allowed, I mean, yeah, they allowed 20, but it was more like, maybe 13, because I'm not going to put the 7 points on them. I mean, yeah, they allowed the touchdown in the red zone, but, again, they didn't let the Jaguars drive down the field and score a touchdown. So, it's different. And what's the other game I'm missing? The Falcons. We have the Falcons too. What was that game? I can't remember the score of that game. But we held the Falcons to a decent amount. But I do remember Matt Ryan did get a number of yards on us, though. That is true. But still, I don't get why and how our defense went from being so strong early in the year to being so weak by the end of it. Oh, we held the Falcons to 10. So I just don't get it. Yeah, and then Tannehill comes in. We allow 20 to the Chargers, which is fine, and then 23 to the Bucks, and it could have easily been 30, but it wasn't. That's fine. We allow 30 to the Panthers, 32 to the Chiefs. And I just don't get it. It's frustrating. And then 38 to the Saints, which was absolutely killer. We couldn't stop the Saints at all. So I don't know. I don't get it, but it is what it is. So with that said, moving on, Rahul Raha says, as sports fan entertainment. Oops, actually, I lost it. Okay, he says, how disappointed would we be if the Titans lose to the Pats? To be honest with you, I will be disappointed. It will not crush me because, it's us against the world. Some people actually expect us to win. There are a lot of analysts that are picking us to win. Jason Whitlock probably being, the most vocal. He has a whole countdown going on in his show, Speak for Yourself, of when the Patriots dynasty comes to an end. But this would just be a great opportunity for us, to really put ourselves on the map. For them, I mean, yeah, decently so. You can only be on the map so much when you go 97 for 4 straight years. Now people just assume that's what we're going to do, and they're correct. Yeah, at least thus far. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's hard to say, like, this will put us on the map. Because did the Jaguars beating the Steelers put them on the map? Like, it kind of did, but it didn't matter. Because they missed the playoffs the past 2 years. They stink, and no one cares about them again. So I don't really buy that. I would just, again, we have a shot here. I don't know if we can beat the Ravens, but we got a shot, right? And I would just love to see, what can happen here. This would be one of the oddest, I would say one of the most odd Super Bowl runs ever, because this has been a great run ever since going 2-4, but it'd be pretty damn odd. But I'm here for it. So I'd love to see it, and it would be disappointing to know that all would come to an end. All right, Reggie says, as sports fan entertainment, I'd be worried about the refs effing you guys over if I were a Titans fan. I mean, sure. I mean, we're not going to get the calls. Yeah, by the way, people expect that right now. They're going to get the calls, right? They're going to get most of the calls. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. This is Belichick. This is Brady. This is the Patriots. They're going to get calls. My thing is, hopefully those calls don't ruin the game for us. Hopefully they're not, absolutely killer and crusher, and I don't have to come on here and complain that we lost the game because of the refs. Right, that's something I don't want to. I don't want to say. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to go down that road. But it's possible, and I'm telling you right now, they're going to get a majority of the calls on Saturday. 100%. They're going to get a majority of the calls. I just hope it won't be absolutely backbreaking. Jonathan Donnie says, "What about the weather?" Yeah. So as far as I know, it's supposed to be raining and a little snowy, and that might make it more of like a running game. But still, I'm telling you, they're gonna even in rain and snow, whatever, they're gonna slow down our run game. I'm just telling you that right now. We're gonna have to throw the rock. I don't care if it's raining or snow. We're gonna have to throw the rock. I mean, I'm just telling you right now, we're going to have to throw the rock against this Patriots team. They are too good stopping the run whenever they're focused on doing that, and they will be focused on doing that. SB says, as sports fan entertainment, could Henry ever get 2,000 yards in a season? It's possible. I don't want to discredit him or discard any chance of that, because I think someone asked me early this season, or maybe before the season, will Derrick Henry get 1,300 yards? And I was like, no. I was like, maybe 12. I was like 13, 14. I was like, nah, I don't see it. And he got 1,500. So I don't really want to discredit him at all. I mean, who knows? I'd love to see it. But, in today's NFL, today's day and age, and now we might have our quarterback here, Ryan Tannehill. I just don't see it. But I could be wrong on that. And, hey, Derrick Henry, want to prove me wrong, bro? Hey, prove me wrong. I'd love to see you prove me wrong and get that 2,000-yard season. But, unless if you have a Chris Johnson or A.D. Peterson, or you're feeding the rock, feeding the rock, feeding the rock, feeding the rock, feeding the rock all day long because your passing offense is horrible. Because in 2008, well, it was in 2008. Was it 2008? 2009. Our passing offense was awful. It was pretty terrible. It wasn't the worst we've seen, but hello, Kenny Britt at that time, right? Yeah, Kenny Britt was our number one weapon, and he still was not developed. I mean, he had a really developed. I guess he did, but it was too little, too late by that point. At least as far as we were concerned. So anyway, Kenny Britt really wasn't developed at that point. So our number one wide receiver was what? Justin Gage. And I know we love Justin Gage. Justin Gage sucks. Okay? Like, let's be honest. I mean, does anyone even remember Justin Gage if you're not a Tennessee Titans fan or maybe a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? Does anyone other than Steeler and Titans fans, he was a Steeler, right? I want to make sure. I know Nate Washington was a Steeler. I want to say Justin Gage was a Steeler too. Let me look that up real quick just because I'm so curious. But no one knows who Justin Gage is. Like, if I just walk up to this random New York Jets fan and I'm like, yo, remember Justin Gage? He's like, who? Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, he had like a 700-yard season for the Tennessee Titans in 2009. Oh, he played for the Chicago Bears. Okay, Justin Gage, Chicago Bears. Yeah, he had like 800 receiving yards for the Titans in like 2007. Who? Like, I mean, seriously. So Justin Gage, I mean, that's all you need to know. So anyway, what was my main point? I had a point to this. Yeah, so my point is that's why I don't see him rushing for 2,000 yards because that's how bad your passing offense needs to be. It needs to be a passing offense that features a developing Kenny Britt, Justin Gage, and I think Lavelle Hawkins might have been here by that point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. Bo Scaife, who I like. I like Bo Scaife historically. But yeah, I mean, that's the only way. And Vince Young at quarterback. Let's not forget about that one. All right, George Sembrano says, as Sports Fan Entertainment, do you think our offensive line can give Tannehill protection enough to throw the ball? And yes, I do believe so. I do hope so. The problem is that they do, stop our run game, and that's what I expect to happen. We will become a little bit predictable in terms of throwing the football, and they're going to throw more at us in terms of a pass rush, and then it could get more sacks because of that, so that is something to look out for. But still, I expect the offensive line to hold up for the most part, but I expect Tannehill to get sacked probably 3 times because that's pretty much to be expected, especially against, a team like New England Patriots and what they're going to throw at us in this type of game. So he'll be sacked like 3 times, let's say. Anything more than 5 or more, we're in trouble. 4, it sucks, but I think he'll do fine. He's been sacked 4 times this season, and he still has been fine. All right. Enrod740 says, as Sports Fan Entertainment, there's actually a storm called Henry moving through New England, and it's Derek's birthday Saturday. Wow, actually, I heard that. Yeah, it's very funny and appropriate. But yeah, that is true. All right, just a couple more questions, and then we will get out of here. Scott Rockcamp says, as Sports Fan Entertainment, if Henry rushes for over 100 yards, do we win the game? Well, I'm not gonna say it's a 1-to-1 because this game just has so many facets. I don't think it boils down to something that simple. Derrick Henry could get 100 yards, and we could be playing in garbage time because the Patriots blew us out, to be quite honest with you. So I'm not going to say that, but I'll say it'll help, right? If he gets over 100 yards, it'll definitely help. So Stanley Lomax says Henry will have over 100 yards. And do you think if he ran this offense with Marcus, it would be the same offense as now? Marcus had Dion and 50% in with Henry 50%. Yeah. This Marcus thing, I just want to table the Marcus discussion for the offseason. I want to see, what team he signs with, and then we'll see how he does next year. It's just such a tiresome debate and argument and conversation, and people are just tired of it and over it, and I'm kind of tired and over it. But y'all know that's my boy. I'm going to defend my boy to death. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm loyal. I'm loyal. I'm going to defend him to death. I love what we're doing now. I'm not saying you got to put him back in or anything. But I do agree that if Mariota had an offense where Derrick Henry was being featured a lot more than Deion Lewis was early in the season, then we might have a different story. That's all. I'm going to get a tech for that. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Eric Villas says, at Sports Fan Entertainment, as a Texas fan, you can never have both offense and defense unless you're the 49ers. I don't know about never. Exactly like you say, like the 49ers do. The Patriots offense isn't great right now. Let me think of other examples. Vikings do. Saints do. Saints defense is actually pretty good this year. They have their bad games, but it's ranked very high in terms of the year overall, especially their stretch with Teddy Bridgewater. So yeah, you definitely can. I don't buy that excuse. All right, SB says who will step up against the Pats? Well, I mean, again, I think it's going to be a mixture of everyone, but number one, Ryan Tannehill. I expect Ryan Tannehill to be the MVP. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you for joining me for this Tighten Up Thursdays as we preview the Tennessee Titans versus the New England Patriots. Again, I hope that we're able to pull this through, and then people will be talking about the Tennessee Titans come Sunday as they defeat and end the Patriots dynasty. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fed Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.